Hey Fit Fam, how is it going? Coach Paul coming at you guys with another Trainer Tip Tuesday. Oh man. So today's topic, let's talk about some core exercises. To keep it pretty basic, all right, crunches, dead bugs, bicycles, leg raises, and anything that involves the core. And you're in the supine position, meaning you're on your back, chest facing up, head facing up, towards that ceiling. It's very important that our posture is right, meaning when we're laying down on this mat, we got to make sure that our core stays engaged the entire time through the prescribed exercise. For again, example, top of the head would be like those crunches or even like dead bugs. Now I'm actually going to use like the dead bug and like the crunch to kind of like show differences of what we mean as far as things that are commonly done wrong with it. So for starters, when we engage our core, I want y'all to think about lay down on the floor. Okay, after you watch this, think about laying down on the floor, or even while you watch this, you hear me cue it out. Okay, so you want to lay down flat as possible on this mat. Now, I don't have much of an arch in my lower back right now, just because my mind and my body is already trained to have my hips tucked in on that mat. But just so all for intents and purposes, so you can see what we talk about. So move my arm here. Now, most of the times you see this, okay? If you kind of see that, my lower back there, you can see that little visible space down there, right? So you want to tuck in the hips where there's nothing and the hand doesn't go underneath. That's how you know the core is engaged, okay? So you have to literally think about pushing your hips or raising your hips up to push the lower back into the mat. Even from that position right here, as I push up right here, I know y'all saw that lift because I just saw it myself. You should feel that core engaged automatically. Now, another key component of this is the shoulders. Now, if you are laying down here and you try to go into a crunch and you are doing this number to where hands by the neck and you pull and you do this, you are straining your neck more than anything. You get the arch in that lower back. Again, as you pull on that neck, you start to feel this start to strain right here. It'll become hard for you to talk, right, as you're laying down there. So when you're doing a type of crunch or a sit-up of that sort, the feet, yes, firmly planted, or you can have the heels dug in to your comfortability, your length, whatever range of motion you can work at. Now, personally, I don't ever really like keep the hands by my neck just because of the fact that you can pull if you're getting tired. So you want to think about curling the shoulder blades up just like so. Now you see how I said just a little bit, not fully up, my chin to that chest. If you come all the way here, you're basically sitting up. That's not going to work. So everything is rested on this floor except for where my shoulder blades start. They're rolled up. Now, so I'm going to use that dead bug as an example. As I raise my legs up, I don't know if y'all can see or you can probably hear my voice. It's like strain because it's hard to talk with the core engaged there. So I'm going to move my hands for purposes to see the lower back. You see there's like no arch in that lower back and my shoulders are rolled up. When you're performing a dead bug exercise, it is the opposite hand, opposite foot. So move my hands away, you're up like so. When you extend out, that one hand stays stationary in the middle. You want to know why? Because look at my body, I'm shaking. Oh man, keeps the engagement in that core. Now, if I was to do this has dropped everything. There's no engagement on my core at all. I had to put my head down just because that's straining my neck really bad. So you want to make sure that you are locking out these hands in the middle. So your shoulder blades are up. Think about you trying to push away like so while pushing the lower back into the mat. You're bringing the hips up. Okay, so the opposite hand, opposite foot. As that one hand stays there, the toes must stay flexed. As that hand goes over and his hand stays stationary here, you see that my shoulder blades stay up. But if I did this, now you can see how my shoulders drop. So check it out as I do it with the wrong form. So I'm gonna go wrong form here. It's gonna be hard for me to do, but I'll try it out. Okay, so if I do that, there's not much going on there. If anything, to be honest, I feel my hip flexors right in front of my quads and a little bit of my glutes. That's not the goal of like a dead bug or any type of core exercise where you're laying down on your back. Even when we talked about chest presses, y'all, you know, we talk about that chest press, you push that lower back to the mat, shoulders are down, right? So even with a core exercise, lower back pushes to the mat and shoulder blades slightly up, just like so. Even if you're holding, okay, so you got that bolt hold, modified, whatever it may be, that lower back has to be pushing to the mat. Shoulder blades have to be curled up no matter what, and any type of abdominal exercise, okay? I can't express it enough. You have to learn to train your body, okay, to not purposely, but yeah, purposely, but also to be intentful about pushing that lower back into the mat, so we're not creating that curve. There'll be a small, but not much. So the only things that I can really think about to kind of give you a better cue on that is I'm gonna come onto my knee level here, tall knee in position. It's because it's great just so I can see the representation there. You want to make sure that, again, when you're doing any type of that core movement, you're not arched like so, okay? Always in. So think about this right here. If you can train yourself to stand or to be in this tall kneeling position with the hips forward, you are going to be able to lock that in when you lay down on the mat. And like I said before, even on one of my other training tips Tuesday videos, if you watched it, okay, talked about that farmer carry, when those hips are forward, you feel this tighten up right away. That core is tight. There's just no other way to kind of like put it, because I mean, reverse style, if I show you like that bird dog, if you think about my flat back there, okay, if you're laying down on the mat and you're like this, okay, see that the butt's sticking up there, and you're doing that number, I mean, you're not really working the core there. You're going through motions, yeah, slightly, but it's just not in that neutral position. So hips are tucked. Even when you're on the floor, all right, that's how you must be when you're performing, because even as my hips stay tucked into that bird dog, you'll see how my foot won't go all the way up, okay, and that's another conversation for a different day. But just so you can kind of see in that tabletop position how my back was arched when my hips weren't tucked, then as soon as my hips were tucked, you saw how my back just kind of slightly rounded a little bit, but that's the natural curve within my spine, all right? But my hips were tucked, my core was engaged. Fam, you really have to think about using your core muscles anytime you're doing any type of abdominal exercise. You have to, otherwise your body won't go to work, the mind won't go to work neither, to use these abdominal muscles. So, and that's with anything that we do, and that'll be a topic for another day, okay? So tuck in those hips. Again, I'll show you one more time. Practice it laying down on that floor. You can do it, start by sitting up, I would say. Slightly roll back to where you're rounded out just a little bit. Lower back into that mat. Now lower the shoulders about right there. That's where you should be, okay? So your shoulder blades are just slightly lifted off that mat, about maybe 2 inches, maybe 3 at most, okay? But that's where you're gonna feel that core engagement, whether it be a dead bug, whether it be a leg raise, whether it be a crunch right there, because even that crunch, you become right here, slow and controlled. That's how you work the core, okay? Slow and steady, not about that speed. As you notice, when I come to that top, it's hard to talk because my lower back is down and my shoulder blades are curled up. I'm using those abdominal muscles to pull up there and always keeping a chin to chest. So I challenge you, fam. Try it out at home before you come back into the gym, or even when you're here in the gym. Try it out. Say, hey, Paul, Coach Paul, watch that training tip Tuesday video about the core exercises. Can you remind me real quick? And I'll be more than happy to show you guys, okay? So that'll go a long way. Yeah, I know. Always emphasize you can build your core without directly doing ab exercises, which is very true. And that just comes from you tucking in those hips through any exercise that you do. All right, but again, conversation for another day. All right, fam. Hope that it helps you out. It takes you a long way. Helps to elevate your gains. All right. So have a great one, y'all.